Guys, let me ask you, Rudy is a name that you hear in a number of, especially second waves. I mean, The Clash, Horace, you mentioned The Clash before. Rudy Can't Fail, your cover of A Message to You, Rudy. Tell us who Rudy, that's
that
the
was
Rude Boys.
Yes, it was the generic name for a rude boy.
Which is what?
Yeah, well, the rude boy, I always said the rude boy is like a Jamaican mod, but without the disposable income. That was like the working class or unemployed youth who would sort of hang around street corners until sort of something turned up, or and would occasionally get into trouble. So it was, I suppose, a Jamaican ne'er-do-well, shall we say? But he was, but he became sort of, I don't know, lionized, like he was like in popular culture, and you would write songs about him.
Right. And Jennifer, in your article for Pop Matters, you talk about the fashion that grew up around ska. There came to be later in the 70s and 80s a kind of rude boy look, right? Which was
I would
very
say
distinctive.
so. And I would say the Specials in the late 70s and the 80s really epitomized that rude boy look.
What was the
Always
look?
a sharp-looking band. And the fashion is really tied to ska music. I mean, especially two-tone ska music, and ska bands today. I mean, there's definitely a ska uniform.
Which is what?
Which would be like, black suit, skinny tie, white shirts, black and white, checkerboards. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the look. But originally, I guess the Rude Boys were kind of Jamaican street toughs that, looked sharp and impressive on the street corner, and you wouldn't want to mess with them.
So guys, when you're out on stage tonight at Terminal 5 and look out in the audience, do you think you'll be seeing lots of black and white?
Yeah, we will.
We usually do, yeah.
I think it's fair to comment as well, to bring up the point that a lot of the dress codes in the UK came from the mod period as well. So you had the tonic fabric suits, the stay pressed trousers, and the Doc Martens, loafer shoes, low-key loafers, and all that. And and the black and white thing did tend to sort of develop a little bit later, I think, along with the.
It did seem to be a two-tone kind of thing.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
We're talking about ska, several waves of ska that have swept through the States and the UK and the world. And Bob here in New York leaves this comment on the Soundcheck page: "I like ska for one reason. I don't think you can put a hateful or even negative message in it. It just doesn't fit with the rhythms." You guys agree?
Yeah, it's extremely uplifting music. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why people will always be listening to it.
The idea of a Specials reunion is something that's been sort of in the air at various points over the years. Horace, what was it that finally allowed this tour to happen?
I think it was an awful lot of hard work and shuttle diplomacy by Linval, our rhythm guitarist, who I think wanted to get the whole thing together for the 25th anniversary, and he sort of tentatively asked a few people, but got sort of a negative reaction from some, but a positive from others. So it was a case of just chipping away and getting everybody, in the same room at the same time, and blah blah blah. And it was a real tour de force, and I think it's down to him really that it's got back together.
But there was the goal of celebrating, marking the 25th anniversary.
Originally it was the
band.
25th, but that sort of came and went. So it was like, okay, well, how about the 30th? I mean, it could very easily have been the 29th, or it could have been the 31st. There was no sort of synchronicity about that. It was just like, okay, let's do it on the 30th.
Why were some members of the band hesitant, and in the case of the original keyboardist, a flat no? What was the tentative?
Well, I think some of us had I think all of us had quite a bad experience of being in the music business, and some of us, myself included, had left the music business altogether. I was a school teacher at this time, and some of us had reasonably successful solo careers that would have to be sort of managed or quite possibly put on hold, and we didn't know whether it was going to work. I mean, we had an idea that it was going to work, but we weren't sure. So there was a lot of sort of, I'll join if you join. I'll join if you join first. And that kind of stuff. So.
But I mean, the music industry, and of course we know it's lots of sharks swim in that particular water, but the industry was good to you guys. You know, you had all these international.
This is really debatable.
In terms of what it did, for the profile of the band and hit songs and stuff. I mean, it's. So my question to you is, how was it not...
Being a legend in your own lunchtime is fine, but it don't pay the rent.
Okay, so was that the issue, that somehow all the hit songs and you never see any of it?
I think it's we broke up after a tour of America. I mean, we were worked to the bone basically, and by the management. And I think if we'd have been given a bit more pastoral care and attention, then we would have lasted a lot longer. But we just ran out of steam, and it got really awkward at the end. I don't think people forget that in a hurry. Years and years later, you remember those situations. However, we have this 30th anniversary thing, and it's nothing to do with it being the anniversary of Saturday Night Live, for example. It's basically when we did Gangsters 30 years ago. But basically, we have a fan base that want us to do this, and we've proven it by the fact we've just done about 40-odd gigs in the UK.
All sold out.
All sold out. And you've never seen so much passion in your life. I mean, it's the most humbling experience I've ever had in my life, to see these grown guys and women dancing and enjoying themselves with tears in their eyes, man. Sometimes it's absolutely unbelievable.
Well, there's a lot of younger ska fans too. Are they showing up to the Specials concerts?
Yeah. Their parents are bringing them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
So, Jennifer, we haven't actually talked about the third wave of ska, which strangely seems to have come out of California. Bands like No Doubt, which Gwen Stefani used as a launching pad for her solo career, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and stuff. How did that happen?
Well, I mean, third wave, I don't want to say that it just came out of California. Some of those bands ended up being the most popular of all of the third wave ska bands. But Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, for example, out of Boston. Mm-hmm. And
the Toasters in New York.
The Toasters in New York, and a lot of those bands like
Fishbone.
The Toasters and the Boss Tones were kind of rooted in punk rock or in hardcore music, even, honestly. But in terms of kind of the biggest names of that era, I would say that Sublime and kind of No Doubt were all over the radio at that time. And their roots were definitely in ska music, even if, a lot of people wouldn't maybe call No Doubt a ska band anymore. They definitely had a lot of ska influences to their music.
And that sort of burnt out after a couple of years. And now, as Brad just said, the Specials are out there and they're looking out in the audience and they're seeing full houses. They're seeing a couple of generations of ska fans. Guys, do you think are we now seeing a fourth wave, or is this kind of a revival of the old second wave?
I don't know. I think it's something that's endemic in the music business. It's like time. It's like time has no meaning anymore. We played the Glastonbury Festival in England last year, and the bill was the Fleet Foxes, Lily Allen, the Specials, and Neil Young. Right, there's like sort of 50 years, all sort of combined. You've got something that's very contemporary, something that happened 2 years ago, something that happened 30 years ago, and something that happens somebody who's even older than us. But it's like it doesn't matter. It's like the audience isn't sort of polarized like it was 25 years ago.
So the music business now has adopted the sort of Buddhist experience of time as a cycle rather than time as an arrow.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, as if to prove the point, we are about to open the doors to this studio to an enormous band that revisits some classic soul sounds of the 60s and 70s when Kings Go Forth join us. But we've been speaking with Horace Panter and John Bradbury from the band The Specials. They are playing tonight here in New York at Terminal 5. And with us on the phone has been the journalist Jennifer Davis, who's written about ska for PopMatters.com. And to the three of you, thanks for being with us on the program today.
Thank you. Bye, Jennifer.
Oh, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
you so much. Good luck
great.
tonight.
Thanks a lot.